Welcome everyone to the 911 Real Estate Call. Whether you're a doctor, managing patients,
business owner, running operations, or an entrepreneur balancing multiple ventures, this space is designed for you.
multifamily real estate investing can seem overwhelming,
But today, we're here to make it simple and easy to understand. Together, we'll dive into real deals, discuss strategies, and exchange ideas to help you grow your portfolio and generate true wealth.
This call isn't just about properties, it's about building strong connections and creating long-term financial success.
Let's jump in and unlock the next step in your investment journey.
So thank you everyone for coming. You guys know that Eric and I, every single month, we try to provide value on this call. It's a great get together, great to see everybody. This allows us to, when we see each other live, it's like, hey, we've all caught up in everyone's lives. So this week or this month, we have Jennifer. Jennifer, a lot of you know her, but I am thrilled to introduce her. She's a true powerhouse to the world of real estate investing. She is the founder and CEO behind a dynamic portfolio of companies, including Empire Property Management, Steel City Realty, Empire Capital Fund, and the Empire Investment Club. Her team manages over 1,300 units with vacancy rates below 2%, consistently generating 20% net cap rates and even hitting 60% cash on cash returns for some of her investors. But what sets Jennifer apart isn't just the numbers, it's her vision. She's built an empire ecosystem that supports both active and passive investors from start to finish, from acquisitions to construction, management, title services, and even investor education. She and her team makes real estate turnkey and profitable. She hosts a Growing Empire podcast where she shares investor insights, market trends, and battle-tested strategies from the front lines. And if that wasn't enough, she's created the Empire Investment Club, a free community where investors gain weekly updates, case studies, and direct access to Jennifer through live calls and networking events. So she's not about only building wealth. She's about helping others create freedom, security, and generational impact through smart, real estate strategies. So without further ado, please help me welcome Jennifer to the show. Jennifer.
Thank you. I appreciate the intro, man. You make me sound really super cool. And I hope I don't disappoint today. So.
Oh no. After chatting with you last time, I was like, Jennifer's something else. I didn't know what she really did until we sat down. Those few hours that we sat down, I was like, wow. I'm so excited to have you on and hear more about it.
Oh, awesome. Let me try to share my screen because I do have some data for everybody. Let me know if you can, let me know if you can see.
Yes.
Wonderful. Let me just try to minimize you guys as well. Can you see you guys on the bottom here? Is that in the way?
No, you're good.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so today I'm going to talk to you about my entrepreneurial journey, where I started from and where I got to today and why I chose this path in life. So we're going to go through my personal journey, the evolution of the businesses. I'm going to go through something I call and hold very near and dear to my heart called my revenue octopus. I'm going to share our SOPs and our EOS system, all the metrics and things that are behind the operations, like how it actually works and how it actually ticks. And I'm hoping that that's going to provide some real value to everybody, because I think everybody on this call is in a very different place in their journey. So whether you're trying to build your real estate empire, whether you own and operate businesses, whether you're in business acquisition, I'm hoping that some of our foundational elements that we use to be successful in business can transfer over to what you're currently doing. We're going to talk about hiring right and the importance behind that. We're going to talk about some of my successes and failures, or as I like to call my face plants. So, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity for some Q&A. I'm going to ask that we hold all questions to the end because I'm really kind of telling a whole story and I want you to see the evolution because I think that that's really where the impact is. So if you're afraid that you're going to forget, just drop it in the chat and then I'll have Alex or Eric just kind of, yell it out to me later, but we'll definitely get to the questions and comments at the end. So I want to start with my disclaimer. Okay. I am definitely not as cool as Andy Hubbs. I have no fancy law degree. I have no college education. I am just a single mom of four from a very average American household, and I'm born, raised, and I've never left PA. And that should actually tell you about my judgment calls as well. All right, so a little bit about my background. I entered business development, marketing, and consulting. I was in the beauty industry. After I got out of high school, I then, in 2009, obtained my real estate license. Shortly after that, got my broker's license. Then I became a very high producer in the Century 21 franchise. That was the first franchise I was in. I was in the top 2% of the entire world of Century 21. Then I started Empire Property Management, which was my first independent company in 2015. 2018, I founded Steel City Realty and Steel Abstract, my title and my brokerage. Then we did Empire Property Construction a year later, and then the Capital Fund a year later after that. And in 2021, we were closing over $60 million in real estate transactions. So since then, I have expanded my real estate operations to add 1,000 units in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton market, which is what we're currently working on. I've raised and deployed $4 million for my hedge fund. I've raised an additional 1.5 for a syndication with just 10 phone calls. I have 5 vertically integrated companies that are the backbone of attracting capital and deals. And my personal portfolio includes multifamily, industrial, flex, and commercial properties. So just a little bit about my track record over the years. I've had more than 90 successful exits, averaging more than a 75% ROI. So my bread and butter and everything that I've built is really to increase returns and have full control for the full cycle from start to finish. And because I'm able to do that, I am able to guarantee or secure very high returns on investments for people. My current real estate stats are I've closed over 230 million in real estate deals. We've got 1,100 units under management currently, and that number goes high and low. We've been as high as like 1,600 units. We've been down to 1,000, back up to 1,100. It's all evolution of business that's on purpose to keep really good control and keep recycling our clients and making sure that we have the best of the best clients in our portfolio. And then my personal portfolio has been over 101 units, and I've successfully increased the valuation of my own portfolio from 7.3 million to 16.9 million in under 4 years. Again, using the strategies that we deploy for all of our clients. So all of this success has not been without setbacks along the way. So let me just tell you about all of my choices and my face plants, as I like to call them. So I was pregnant with my first child right out of high school. So all of my college dreams kind of down the tubes. I was actually going to go to Temple University to study dance. I was a dancer. And yeah, I was pregnant out of high school. So no chance of doing that anymore. So I got into the beauty industry and I had my second child while I was working behind a chair as a beautician. And my second child was born with some very serious heart conditions. My son is 27 today. He is severely developmentally delayed. He is nonverbal. He is never going to live on his own. He'll never have a job. That's his developmental delay. It was a heart condition and then a series of seizures. But when he was born, I was not allowed to work. He was suffering from such severe seizures at the time, and he had such a serious heart condition that they couldn't operate on him. He was too small. He was only 4 pounds when he was born. And while we were waiting for him to gain weight so they could safely do the surgery, he was having massive seizures all day long. So for 6 months, I literally sat on the couch and held my son because that was all I could do. Because they told me if I didn't and he had a seizure while he was laying in his crib or something else, he probably wasn't going to survive. So I kind of quit my job. I came home, I took care of my son, and then I had to start over when it was time to go back to work. Then I got to my first divorce. So I think the stresses of, child with severe developmental delays, and just the stress of not having money because there's only one income in the household obviously put some stress. And there was some other factors in there, but I was divorced. And after that first divorce, I also had to suffer with my family because my parents, my mom specifically, was highly against divorce. Now, she still doesn't know to today that that relationship was actually physically abusive. That's why I left my marriage. And I won't tell her because I don't think that those things need to leave your household. But for 2 years, I didn't speak to my parents at all. So my parents missed my two younger children growing up and a large part of my life because they didn't understand why I made those choices that I did. When I got into uh, really high up in the beauty industry. I was a district manager. I was managing salons all across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and I was, the highest paid employee, had all the perks in the world. This is obviously as I started back to work. I mean, it was very fruitful. It was a wonderful, wonderful job and career, and I loved it. I was doing platform education for a color line. And I was helping them open new locations, new businesses. And, then I got to learn what corporate downsizing was. At that time, I was 7 months pregnant with my third child. So as you can imagine, another very serious setback where I was like, oh shit, like, what am I going to do now? Because nobody's hiring me at 7 months pregnant. And I just got downsized from my long-standing corporate career over 10 years that I put a lot of passion and energy into. And I was just, I went through a really rough time, right? It was kind of like the woe is me time. I was like, I don't believe this. I don't understand this. So I had to get past that. But then I decided to get into real estate. That's actually what started me, right? I was so affected by being disposed of the way that I was and how it all went down that I was like, you know what? Never again, literally never again will anybody ever put me in a position where I am literally just disposed of. And it affects your family, it affects everything, it affects your health, your sanity. So I got into real estate, but real estate wasn't easy either. The first year I made literally no money. So anybody that tells you that real estate is easy and you make a fortune, they're freaking lying, right? It is not the way that it works. I went over 6 months without a paycheck. And then even once I started to make money, it was very sporadic. And again, I was coming off of being corporately downsized. So to then not have income again for a year in a two-income household on my third child now, it was really, really rough. But I did bounce back, although I almost quit. That was definitely one of the defining moments. I was ready to, pack up shop and go back into, another business. I just said, you know what? Absolutely not. I'm going to hunker down and I'm going to do it. So I started building these businesses and I got into property management pretty early on in my career. It was a little after my first year in the business where I met somebody that was very interested in buying investment properties. Now I hadn't, I was in the residential side of the business. I didn't know anything about investment properties. Again, I didn't have a college education or anything. So I didn't have very good financial acumen or any of those things. But it was interesting because I was in an office at the time and they were ready to close up shop and this call came in. At that time we were at brick and mortar, right? That's what you did back then. And, the secretary was like, hey, I got this guy on the phone. He sounds like a complete jerk. So if you want me to tell him our office is closed and nobody's here, I'd be happy to do it. And I was like, absolutely freaking not. I'm not making any damn money. Give me the damn phone call, right? So I got on the phone with him. And he was not at all a jerk. He was just very matter of fact and very direct. And as you all know me, you know that I appreciate that because I deal the same way. So he just gave me a list of all the things that he wanted to do, what he wanted to buy, where it needed to be, how much he wanted to spend. And he just, rambled off the list. And then he says, are you going to call me back? And I said, why do you ask me that? He goes, because you're the fifth person I've talked to and nobody's called me back. And I said, that's a bet I will take. I'll call you back in 20 minutes with all the information I found. And I did. I called him back in like 15 minutes with as much information as I can find on the properties that he wanted. And then after he closed on his first deal, he said to me, can you manage the properties? And I was like, yeah, I can. Again, no freaking idea what I was talking about. Didn't even know what the word property management meant. The next day I walked into my broker's office and I said, I don't know what I promised this guy, but I definitely know I don't want to fail. So please tell me what I need to know, where I need to get the information, and I'm going to do it. So that actually was the catalyst to literally all the businesses that you see today. So, what I was able to do was I was able to identify the demand, and then I was able to build the business around it, and that's where we are today. Then we got into COVID. COVID was again a slap in the face for operations, especially in property management and in real estate. But so all it really did though was helped us refocus our ops. So it forced a remote workforce. But it also helped us drive our SOP or our standard operating procedures into this transformation for our organization as a whole. So, some people look at COVID and they think about, it was a very negative time. For us, it was a pivotal moment in our industry and in our career, in my businesses and in my career, because I was able to see the fruits of the labor, right? I was able to see an entire workforce figure out how to navigate these new waters, and we did it very successfully, and we have lots of raving fans because of it. But we refocused our ops and we moved on. Then the market exploded, right? And what I mean by that is the market just went sky high in pricing. There was rent control that was passed a few years back in New York City. That drastically impacted the Pennsylvania market, as well as inventory was at an all-time low and prices were sky high. All of those things made it impossible for investors to invest successfully. So all of our revenue streams came to a screeching halt, an absolute screeching halt. And I had 75 employees at this time, and we had no new revenue coming in. It was an absolute nightmare. So we had to do a very hard reset and get us back in track of, in line of where we were as far as business and employees and all those things. And, then I went through divorce number two. And all I can say about that is watch out, world. I am on a mission. So it is still not over. I am 16 months into that divorce. And yeah, it's painful, but I am not giving up and I'm going to keep going on. All right. So some of the words to live by are things that have been really foundational for me. Is my mom taught me, surround yourself with people smarter and more successful than you. Strive to be better every single day. I live and breathe that. From every interaction, every relationship I have, I am always striving to surround myself with only people that will lift me up and make me a better person. And if you do not fit that mold, you are not in my circle. I don't need a bunch of friends. I need people that are going to help me be better every single day. My grandmother taught me that God only gives you what you can handle, and you're supposed to take it with grace and show up to the challenge. So trust me, as I was going through those challenges with my son back in the day, that was a really pivotal thing that I would remember and just say, I can handle this. I can do this. I can handle this. I can do this, right? He only gave me this because he knows I can do it. And as I go through setbacks in business and life, I just remember those words. And then, life has taught me that every win starts with a face plant. So again, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you just try harder, and you will succeed. So let's get into the revenue octopus. This is my most favorite thing about business. When I learned this, I'm telling you, the floodgates opened. They truly, truly opened for me. And it's when you solve one problem, they'll hire you. But if you solve five problems, they will stay for life, right? And that's about your business and your client base. And, I can honestly say today that my clients, my relationships, they are clients for life. I do not worry ever about somebody discounting prices like my competitor, and they're going to run and leave. They will never duplicate my services. As a matter of fact, if you try to leave, I'm going to tell you good luck, and then I'll be here when you fall, right? Because you will not duplicate my services. Even at a better price, you're not going to get anything better than what I'm going to provide for you, because we have built an actual machine, a machine that just makes sure that your investments are successful. So my revenue octopus is one vision, 5 businesses, and clients for life. So as I mentioned, it started with Empire Property Management, and that is property management services. So as investors are buying real estate deals, we are coming into the property management or the asset management form, and we are providing a full suite of services for that client. It is a truly passive vehicle, meaning that our investors do not have to think or even pay attention to their assets. We are going to make sure that they're profitable. We are going to hold our feet to the fire. We are going to review our performance every single year, and we are going to meet the goals that we set no matter what. Steel City Realty is the brokerage service. Steel Abstract is the title company. The brokerage service, although I was in real estate before property management, I went independent with the real estate brokerage after I formed the property management company. So Steel City is my own exclusive company, and we focus 100% on investment properties. That's all we do. We do no residential sales at all. We do investment properties, and we have just mastered that cycle. Steel Abstract is my title company, and I formed that for no other reason that I wanted to control the experience from start to finish for every single client. Okay. Empire Property Construction was formed because as we started to grow and evolve in the property management world, we started to get demand for much higher skilled labor and services, right? Far beyond just the general repairs and maintenance. And as I started to see the demand and the need for such a thing, especially if people were buying very distressed properties, I realized that I needed another arm to my revenue octopus, which is to build the construction company. So Empire Construction specializes in value add renovations. So again, our primary client base is our own clients. We do work for outside companies as well. We do work for other property management companies, but our revenue comes from rehabbing properties that are held for investments. Okay. We're not typically the ones that go in and remodel your bathroom, right? Unless it's your investment property. We go in and we handle value add renovations for investment properties. The fund was something that I started as an answer to the market dynamics. So as the market was changing, as prices were skyrocketing, I started to realize that I needed to come up with a solution that would allow our clients to continue to be invested in real estate. If you've got money sitting in bank or you've got money sitting in stocks and you want to allocate that capital and you've got nowhere to deploy it, you're going to go somewhere else. And I was not about to let that happen in my business. So what I did was I created a vehicle for people to continue to invest in real estate. The unique thing about the fund is that the fund only invests in off-market deals. So I source them privately, and that's what our clients are investing in. So as the market is crazy and volatile and prices are sky high, my clients did not need to worry about that because we had a vehicle that allowed them to continue to invest in real estate assets and holdings by way of some of the deals that we're sourcing. We source those deals from estate sales, foreclosures, sheriff sales, other brokers, sellers that call us that know what we do, that are distressed, you name it. We probably have gotten a deal from there once before. And then we're currently working on our extended reach. So if we didn't already have enough arms with our, our revenue octopus, I continue to improve upon this and add upon it. Why? Because there's always demand, right? So as an example, the construction company, besides just doing property rehabs, now has a full-blown snow removal and landscaping company. And we do it for a lot of commercial properties outside of our organization. We do something called, and we created something called a pre-purchase property assessment. What that is that we, again, found a need in the industry. So if you're a real estate investor and you try to hire a home inspector, what you're given as far as detail and data is comical, right? It is not valuable whatsoever. As a real estate investor, what you need to know is, what is the CapEx? What are my turns going to cost? How long is this roof going to last? You need to know all of the critical components that impact your bottom line. Knowing that a outlet has reverse polarity is not going to impact your bottom line, I promise you. If you can't afford that $2 outlet, you've got a much bigger problem. But what you do need to know is, how long are the water heaters going to last? When do I need to budget for repairs and replacement on my roof? How long should I, plan for window replacements? You need to know all of those critical components. When that unit turns over, what is that going to look like? So our pre-purchase property assessments are strictly for investors. And it is a service that we provide that will give them a high-level operational budget for their investment property. So instead of me telling you all the nonsense that you don't really need to know, that's just general repairs and maintenance for a property, we are going to go in and scope sewer lines. We are going to give drone footage of roofs. We're going to tell you if you need to replace it now or in 5 years. We're going to give you a 5 to 10 year budgeting for your investment property so that you can make sure that your budgets and your underwriting is solid for anything that you're going to purchase. We've gotten into commercial maintenance. So we go into commercial buildings and we do fire life safety checks, which are done on a monthly basis. We now sub out our licensed plumbers and our licensed electricians. we sub them out to other businesses that are looking for plumbing and electrical services. And we are the preferred vendor for many other property management companies. Some of the things that we've done in the property management side that have allowed us to continue with revenue is we added on a property maintenance division. So originally it was property management services and we subbed out the work. Now we have on staff property maintenance guys. So all of the maintenance is done in-house by my employees. Again, I can control the outcome and I can control the cost if I employ the people versus subbing out the work. We warehouse supplies now because we can get things at greater discounts. We have a vendor management system. So if you're using or doing massive renovations on a project that are outside the scope of what we do, we will offer you vendor management services. We do portfolio consulting. So if you're trying to figure out when is it time to sell, when is it time to hold, when is it time to buy more, when do you want to do a 1031 exchange and defer your costs or defer your taxes, we'll help you figure those things out too. Some of the things that we've been doing on the real estate side is we help people with zoning approvals for change of use. So if you want to buy a property that's currently vacant or currently not in use as you want to use it, we'll help you go through all of the ups and downs of the zoning approvals and code enforcement to get the conversion to the property. And we also offer photo and marketing services above and beyond what a typical real estate company would. We have a system called, tech called Matterport. We use drone footage. So all of those things really help us to scale our business. So some of the tools that we use. Property management, we are using AppFolio for our database, and we also use Monday.com. Monday.com is a project management system. So what we've learned in our better business is that AppFolio, although it's great on the day-to-day operations, accounting, maintenance work orders and stuff like that, what it doesn't do is help you with the timeline from start to finish of a turnover, right? So once a tenant leaves a property, you've got to then do a move-out inspection, turn it over, get it cleaned, get it remarketed. So all of those things, we were using an outside project management tool called Monday. In the real estate world, we use Brokerman, which is our electronic signature platform. It's where we hold all of our deals. It's where all of our offers come in. We use Asana for our team for task tracking, and again, project management. CoStar and LoopNet are one of our top platforms that we use for searching for deals and then also advertising deals that we have for sale. We also use Crexi, and then Creop is the software that we use to create OMs. The construction company is using Buildertrend. The CRM that we use right now is called Follow Up Boss. All of our HR stuff for all of our employees is done via Paylocity. That's also our payroll, but it's also our time clocks, our performance metrics, everything that you can think about that you would do with HR, it's all done through Paylocity. Our accounting, our corporate accounting is done through QuickBooks. For AI and automation, we are currently mostly using ChatGPT and then Zoom AI, which helps us with the SOPs that we produce. And some of the additional tools that we've been adding in to our resources is something like ProPress, which is a construction equipment that has allowed us to do water heater installs in literally minutes. It has drastically cut back the time that it takes to install water heaters. Matterport we use, and if you're not familiar with that, that's how you can walk through an apartment or a house and do like a 3D tour. Almost like you're walking through it. And then, of course, we use a lot of drone footage as well for a lot of different things. All right, so let's talk about building a rock star team. There's nothing more important than your team in the foundation of any business. Operating procedures are really critical. Your EOS systems are critical. Documentation is critical, but nothing tops having a rock star team. Okay. So my hiring philosophies are pretty similar. You want to look for adaptability, and especially if you've got multi-brands, right? So one of the biggest things that I look for is their adaptability, right? I'm not just filling a seat, I'm filling a culture, okay? So I don't think about it as, okay, I have an application department that I need to hire somebody that processes applications. Sure, I want to make sure that they have the skill set to do such, but I want to make sure that they're adaptable, that they can grow and be a instrumental part of the organization moving forward. Onboarding and retaining. You want to hire slow, fire fast, right? Hire slow, fire fast. That is a really critical component in business. Skills can be taught, but values cannot be. So the minute you identify that you've got the wrong hire, no matter what you feel is going to happen, no matter if you feel like you're going to need to take on more work, you need to get rid of that person. You hire slow, fire fast. We use scorecards and KPIs for every role in our organization. Okay. And I always operate by the model that nothing kills a great team faster than watching you tolerate a bad one. So tips for hiring. You want to hire before you're desperate. This means you're always looking and you're always hiring. Okay. So if you are operating a growing business and you don't have ads out there for new employees at all times, you are missing the boat. What is going to happen is you're going to have a need before you have somebody to fill it, and you're going to make a desperate choice. So hire before you need it. Okay. Culture is everything. Culture is your sacred ground. You have to protect it with everything that you have. Okay. So again, the minute you find somebody that doesn't fit in that culture, they have to go. And when you're hiring, you want to figure out what value do they bring. It's more than just that seat to fill. It's how that employee is going to add value to your organization. Build your foundation first, which means who are your core people? Who are the workhorses in your organization? That's your foundation, right? You need to have those people in place so that you can grow and streamline your business. And then who is your MVP? Who are your senior leaders? And who are the people that are going to take your company to the next direction? And are they paid as that MVP? And if they're not, you are going to lose them. So again, not only do you want to hire right, you want to protect your team, right? And part of protecting your team is giving them a culture where they feel empowered and they love coming to work, but they feel respected, they feel valued, and they feel that they are your MVP. So SOPs, standard operating procedures. We use this in everything we do. So how I use them is we document repeatable systems for every business unit. Okay, so no matter what the business is, we have SOPs for every which way that we want our employees to operate. I use them for training, for consistency, for freedom from micromanagement, right? If I was an owner of a business or a manager of an organization and I did not have SOPs, I guarantee you I'm doing way too much extra work. I'm micromanaging it because there would be no way for me to track it. How I am able to keep consistency in my business is those SOPs. The benefits are I buy back my time. I have the flexibility to exit the business operations, and I have a business that continues to thrive even if I'm not in it every single day. So what SOPs are and are not. Okay, so SOPs are guardrails that allow for freedom. Okay, they are not step-by-step instructions. So we are not giving somebody a box that they have to live within. We are giving them guardrails. So think of your highway, right? We're giving them guardrails. You can move as fast or as slow as you need to be a good, valuable employee in the organization. And it gives you some flexibility of what direction you're going to take. Okay. But what it's not going to do is have you in this box and give you step-by-step instructions where you no longer are empowered to think outside that box. SOPs are excellent training and onboarding tools. So every time I bring a new employee on, we start with the SOPs of whatever we're training. And then every time they have a question, I refer them back to the SOP. And sure enough, when they have questions in the future, instead of just asking their neighbor or asking you, they go back to the SOP because it's a religious thing that we talk about every single day. Well, what does the SOP say? What does the SOP say? However, SOPs are not foolproof without proper implementation, right? So what I mean by that is you actually need to have an SOP for how you update SOPs, as crazy as that sounds, right? You need to have a system in place for how you update and make changes to your SOP because no SOP stays current forever, right? If it does, your business is not evolving. So what happens when something changes in your business, like COVID or other things, recession, other things that can happen in your business? You need to have a process to update your process, okay? And SOPs allow employees to grow and prosper, but they are not a replacement for the right hire. And I cannot stress that enough. You cannot teach just any employee, right? You've got to have the right culture and the right fit, and then SOPs will allow them to grow and prosper. EOS. Has anybody heard of EOS? Alex has. Eric, great. I don't see everybody on the screen, but I see a couple people raising their hands. So we have adopted, fairly recently, I would say, we've adopted the EOS system. Because what it does is it takes those SOPs to a whole new level, right? It really just elevates and scales the business. So these are 6 key components of any business that have to be managed and strengthened to be a great business. And this business model does apply any business, any industry. It truly does. So, we start by creating a vision, and that vision is something that we broadcast and talk to our entire group about. We talk to our clients about it. Everybody is embedded and involved in the vision. We keep a lot of data. We keep scorecards and measurables to track everything that we do. We have processes, our SOPs, that are documented and followed by all. We create traction by having meetings, level 10 meetings, and by identifying what our rocks are. We handle issues with something called our IDS, our issues list. And people, again, we've mentioned this before, but right people, right seats. That is the critical component. And when you have all of those things working in the same direction in your organization, you are truly growing exponentially. So how I stay aligned across 5 brands, I use weekly level 10 meetings. I use rocks and scorecards for tracking progress. I use it because it helps me to stay centered. It keeps my businesses focused and all working in the same direction. As I had mentioned before, this is like the circle of life in the business. So, people come into us, they buy the real estate. Then they go to the title company for title services to get to closing. Then they go into property management to get property management services. Then when they're ready to sell and buy and trade up or something like that, they go back to the real estate company. And somewhere along the line, they will invest in the fund and probably do larger projects with a construction company, but it's a circle of life. And I wouldn't be able to stay aligned across all 5 brands of 5 different companies if I didn't have clarity and focus around our operating systems. So EOS gave me the clarity, but the people and the SOPs make it real. So this is just an example of a level 10 meeting. It's one of my most favorite things out of the EOS system. And this is how we run and operate every single meeting. If you've ever worked for any kind of corporation, or maybe even in your current business, when you say to your employees, hey, we're going to have a meeting, right? People roll their eyes. They're like, oh my God. Like, most people look at meetings and they think of meetings as just, it's like, oh, time waster, right? Ours are not. Ours are truly productive meetings that people look forward to and they never miss. I never have an attendance problem because they want to be involved. So we have a 5-minute segue where everybody shares something positive in their personal or business life since the last meeting, because these, again, are people, and it's really important to not just focus on business every single day. We are people, we're a family, we're a team, and we need to operate that way. We have 5 minutes for people headlines. So share anything that's newsworthy that happened in the team. 5 minutes for our scorecard. So then we're going to review the scorecard. We're going to highlight wins, and we're going to take those IDS or those issues, and we're going to put it down to the bottom for identifying, discussing, and solving later. We are going to do a 5-minute rock review, which is our goals. Our rocks are our goals. And then we're going to do a 5-minute to do since the last meeting. So if we've completed things, great. We're probably moving on to the next rock or the next goal. If we haven't completed something, that may be on our next to-do list. Then we're going to spend 60 minutes on the IDS, the issues. We're going to discuss and go through every issue that is surfaced in the business in that period of time. And we're going to figure out ways to identify and solve for those issues. These are the roadblocks. These are the things that detract your employees from continuing to be successful in the organization, right? So we want to bring them to light, and we want to make sure that everybody can go through each option to discuss and solve it. And then we conclude with any action items, and we have everybody rate the meeting. So it sounds crazy, but we want people to see how valuable the meeting is. And if we don't get 10s, we got to try harder next time, right? We want to make sure that everybody sees value in the meetings that we're holding. So some of my successes and failures, I have been probably the most pride I have is being a good steward of capital. And I don't know that anything tops this, right? It is where I get the most satisfaction and the most pride in what I do every day, because nothing else truly matters. So that for me personally is one of my top ones. But the key to a successful and fruitful business is to deliver on needs. Again, that's kind of the metric that has created this empire, is that I've figured out how to identify what the need is and deliver on that need. And business is not built on friendships, it's built on trust, right? So I don't have a goal to be everybody's best friend. I have a goal to be somebody that you see as trustworthy, does what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. That is my goal in life. Some of my failures, no SOPs at the first stage of my business. It took me years in business to learn how valuable SOPs were. Why? Because I built the business on my back. So I had everything memorized. I knew what I was doing. And I was training and developing people. But what I learned, and this was so critical, is that every time I had to replace an employee, I lost all that tribal knowledge every single time. So after a while, I got tired of having to keep going through the same thing. And I realized that what I was missing or lacking was SOPs. I had everything in my brain and I was teaching everybody, but I didn't have it documented anywhere. That was a big shift for me. And then the mindset that I could never duplicate myself. So for many years, I struggled in the business as I was thinking about exiting the day-to-day operations, and I was hiring. And I was hiring with the mindset that I would find a good quality person and I would train them all the things that they needed to know. Wrong. Again, I was not able to do that because I needed to find people that were actually better than me, right? I needed to not try to duplicate myself. I needed to find people that were better than me. And because of that, I had many bad hires. I went through six upper level management people just in the property management company alone in under a year. 6. Right? The leaders of the team. So guess how many times I've been back and forth in the business, right? So again, just having that mindset now and that clarity has been really, really powerful. And now, of course, I'm happy to say we've got amazing rock stars. But the difference between a good employee and a great one is how you build your rock star team. So, I'm not looking for good employees when I hire them. I'm not looking for adequate. I'm looking for people that are going to knock it out of the park. And I'm not just talking about the workhorse. I'm talking about the people that show up, add value, have ideas, and are looking for success. They're looking to grow and flourish in the organization. So some of the takeaways that I can share from over the years, build from demand, right? If you want to build a strong, successful business, no matter what that business is, build it from demand. Identify the demand in your industry and build off of that. Put your systems in so you don't stress out. So systems over stress every single time. Hire for culture. SOPs give you leverage. Use tech for speed. And I mean like AI and systems. Technology is a big, powerful engine when you use it right. EOS will help you bring alignment to your organization. And then everyone needs a Katie. So years ago, Katie is my executive assistant, and some of you may have interacted with her before. She is an absolute rock star. I would literally cry if she left me. She's been with me for 6 years or so, and she is an absolute rock star. And this is what I mean about hiring the right person. She was not from the industry I was in, not at all. She actually ran and operated her family's restaurants. And I found her and I just really liked her energy. I liked her ideas. I liked her creativeness. She was all the things that I was not. And that's why I liked her so much. She really was able to play upon my weaknesses and add strength and value there. And we have just built this amazing machine. She has evolved from initially just being my executive assistant, answering my emails, to now she books investor calls. Now she takes investor calls. She was the work behind the Wealth and Health Summit last year, right? Like, she is just amazing. She is behind a lot of the content that we produce. She is an absolute rock star. So, I cannot stress enough that as you are an entrepreneur and you're growing your business, if you have not yet figured out that you need an executive assistant or a virtual assistant or somebody that is going to be your right hand, you are really, really missing out on a lot of time that you can take back to grow your businesses. So really, really think about that. That's one of the most key important hires I think I've ever made. Build SOPs now, track metrics from day one, systematize your onboarding, and be exit ready even if you're not selling. Always think about your exit strategy on every business. That will help you scale and put the right metrics in place so that you can be successful. Some of the other things that we're doing are, we are producing advisor guide articles, which are produced weekly, which are like blog posts. They're educational things for anybody looking to learn anything about real estate investments, property management, you name it, we talk about it. We host meetups. We host the real estate summit. I've had a podcast running for 5 years that is actually in a relaunch, going through a relaunch right now. We're going to level it up a little bit. So giving back to your industry, I think is really critical by way of education, free education. We also have the Empire Investment Club where we help each other benefit from networking and growing together. And what's happening now? We just completed due diligence this week on a 17 unit. This is an MIH JV. This is the third one. So I'm really, really excited about that. We're moving forward to closing. We are working on a 39 unit ground up project in Whitehall, Pennsylvania, which is my backyard. So that opportunity is coming really soon, and we are going to open that opportunity up to the MIH group. So that you can be involved and learn and be a part of a really, really amazing project. It's going to be 39 units of studios, 1s and 2 bedrooms in Whitehall, Pennsylvania. And I'm currently deploying another 1.2 for the fund. So those are the things that are like on my task list every single day. And we're also preparing for our second annual Wealth and Health Summit, which is the end of October 24th to 26th. So mark your calendars and make sure you are there. I'd like to just thank everybody for the opportunity. Marco and Hadar, opportunity of a lifetime to be a part of this group. There is nothing more powerful than the MIH family. And I am in other masterminds, so I can say that with experience that there is nothing better than this group. I'd like to say thank you to my MIH family. Every one of you that I've met over the last year, you have been so powerful in helping guide me and focus me. As I mentioned, I'm still in my divorce, but your friendships and support and positivity have kept me guided. And you have no idea the value that you've brought to my personal life just from being who you guys are. It's kept me focused and it's kept me grounded. And of course, to my friend and my business partner, Robert, we are making magic together daily. And I look forward to speaking to you and working with you every single day. And I think our future and the opportunities are just so bright. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Jen,
That's it. Yes.
Jen, I just want to say one thing for everybody in MIH to understand. The one thing that you're missing, which I'm not going to rush you on, and neither is Robert, and me and Rob, because we're your partners, I'm going to help you with it when the time is right, because we talk about shiny objects. I don't want it to be a shiny object right now, because we're closing 17 unit and I need you to operate, run it, property management, everything, even our 4 units. I already know when the time is right, because me, Rob, and Yosef right now are crushing social media. The response from people, I cannot tell you. Between our cooking videos, between the mastermind, between the deals we're closing, the amount of people reaching out to me and the leads and everything, and people who want, like Jen Huss now, from Jake and Gino, just saying wants to come to Ponte Vedra, for example. And it's just from a single post that we're getting a lot of momentum for everything. So what I want to do with you after we close the 17, could be in a month, could be in 3 months. You're not going to be able to do it. I handle a lot of my social media. I don't want you handling it, but you had the podcast. You just with the stuff you do with Rob and PA from day-to-day actions, your social media could be really, really good. So what I want to do with you is we're going to sit down and we're going to build it so that it's not distracting. Because the thing is, I don't need anything to distract you right now, but it is going to add to your companies, and that's going to really, really make you limitless. Okay. But it's got to be the right time. You know what I'm saying? Because remember we talked when you joined, you're doing so many good things that, like Gary Vee says, yeah, go put, but you don't really need to post right now, but you do, because it'll create even more momentum. But you have a lot of momentum. So me and Rob are going to help you with that in the future. Okay.
Yep.
Hey
Absolutely.
guys, since we're talking about social media right now, let's turn your cameras on and let's take a picture real quick before the Q&A. All right.
My screen share is off, right, Alex?
Yep, you're good. Don't
Okay,
worry.
wonderful.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you. Even with the screen share. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. I mean,
let me start with some questions.
Amaka, I know you had a question. Do you wanna
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
so
go
I
ahead.
live in Florida and we can't sub anything out unless you have a GC license. So you were talking about subbing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC out. Do you have a GC license or is that not necessary there?
I do. I do. We had it
Amazing.
actually before we needed it. So that actually was a recent change in Pennsylvania, like recent, like this year recent, where you needed to now have a GC license. So previous to this year, GC was just it was a, what do you call it? Registration, right? They called it HIC, home improvement contractor. It was just a registration. Anybody could get it, right? So there was no such thing as a license, right? Now you need a license. But yes, I do have license on staff.
And then to follow up with that, what was the process like? I know like here it's a bitch to get a license here. So like you have to be here for 4 years. What did you have to go through to get it?
Yeah, so it's not me that has it, it's my employees that have it. So I don't hold although I hold a million licenses. And if you ever have a Jeopardy, if you're ever on something like Jeopardy and you want to, who is the answer, who has the most licenses, it's probably me. I hold a ton of licenses. Those are not the ones I hold though. But what I will do is, if you would like to send me a message offline, I will connect you with Ron, who handles all of our licensing for that. He is an absolute rock star and he can kind of navigate how you get through that and if there's any like loopholes or easy ways to kind of navigate it. But he would know everything about the construction licensing as it relates to our state, but it may apply in yours as well. But I'd love to connect you so you can get some of those answers.
Thank you.
Now, before this next question, I just want to say, Jen, you just dropped some big bombs from sharing your life story to teaching us how to hire to running an EOS business. I mean, those of you who have not looked into EOS, look into it because what Jen has shared is massive. We should be paying for this information that she just mentioned here. I don't know how if you any of you guys who don't run your own business, how valuable this is. So Jen, thank you, massive thank you for
Oh, you're
sharing.
welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, Jen. I mean, honestly, from the first moment we talked about a year ago, it's super impressive. I mean, your revenue octopus and like Alex said, the EOS system, you're constantly providing value to all of us. It's an honor to know you, and I've had so much fun working on this deal with you for the past year. It's truly been something I've looked forward to every single time we do it, even though some of the times are, a little challenging, at times. But you were great today, and we truly thank you for all the knowledge and learning that you're willing to share for us.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Are there any
What?
questions? Did one of you guys check the chat or do you want me to do it to see if anybody
Yep,
threw
I'm
anything in the
checking the
chat?
chat.
Okay.
Hey
There
Jen, one
were
question.
actually, Emeka was the only question, to be honest, that specific question that I had. So if anybody
I got a
feel,
question, Jen.
go ahead, Alex.
Yeah.
Is your EOS, did you hire an implementer or did you self-implement?
It's a good
Self
question.
self-implement. So we've been working on it for better part of 2025. So it's interesting because I was doing so many versions of like pieces of it, right?
Yeah,
And I couldn't, I felt like I was struggling with like putting it all together, right? Like I couldn't like get it to the next level. And somebody told me, read Traction.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, I'll read Traction. So I did. And the minute I did, I was like, oh shit, this is what I was missing. This is what I was missing. So we
yeah.
started implementing it. I actually think that I'm going to probably bring in a coach for it, because I just believe that there's value in that. But we've been self-implementing so far.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
have
That's what we're
another
doing as
question
well.
if I can.
Sure.
So this is a little bit more personal, but you said you're going through a second divorce. Has that affected the business at all? Some people are shisty. So how does that play with your businesses and protecting those assets for you?
Well, great question. And some of you that know me know that I've talked about this. So, All of the businesses, with the exception of the real estate company and the title company, are owned exclusively by me. I'm 100% the owner. Okay. The real estate company and the title company, because my ex-husband was a real estate agent, he was involved in those businesses and we own them 50-50. I believed, and I learned my lesson, that not every state means that it's really yours. So it doesn't matter what it says. If you're married, you're married. It's collective, right? So if it happened after your marriage, everybody's equally, valued equally. So it's been tough, and that's what I was talking about when you guys are adding value for me. You have no idea, because this could have taken me out. It could have taken me out. He is currently today still trying to destroy every ounce of the business. He has no interaction with his kids whatsoever. It's been 16, 17 months. He is literally, I had to call the attorney yesterday to say, hey, we need a cease and desist. Like, this is very serious. He's affecting my business. So he is literally trying to destroy me, but at the same time, he's trying to take half of everything. And none of it, and I mean literally none of it, did he help build. So it's been really challenging. It's definitely a not a happy moment in my life, and I can't tell you how many times I wanted to just give up, give him everything, and just say, go the fuck away. Oh, excuse me, go away. I'm sorry, I always curse, so it doesn't matter.
You're in a safe space. You're allowed to say
I'm sorry, but I literally just want him to go away. And I can't tell you how many times I actually thought to myself, you know what, if I just give you everything, you'll go the hell away and I could start it all over. Because think about it. Like, if I gave him, just example, the property management company, good fucking luck, right? Good luck. You have no idea how to operate the business. Nobody's going to follow you. I'll just open a new company under a new name, and guess what? You're screwed. Right. So like, I can't tell you, it's been very challenging. But you guys, I cannot tell you how much you've kept me grounded. Even if we're not talking about my personal issues, you have kept me grounded. You have kept me focused. You've kept me excited. Just the stuff we're doing with the JVs, I can't even tell you how personally valuable that has been for me. So it has been rough. And I don't know where we're going to end up. I'm going to probably owe him some money, but I'm trying to keep it minimal. He's trying to not work, and he wants me to provide for the rest of his life. And I did it for 15 years, and I'm not doing it for one more damn day.
No, that's
Jen,
great.
we're
That's
here
great.
for you always. You know
Thank
that
you.
you have the
Appreciate it.
support. You have the support of all of us always. And for you to, rise to the challenge like that, it just makes this story that much more incredible, truly.
Thank you. Thank you.
It does. And I
Ryan
know a
did have
couple
a
of Haitian
question.
guys.
Ryan did have a question, Jen.
Sure.
He had to leave. His question.
That's a wrap for today's 911 real estate call.
Thank you so much for attending, sharing your thoughts, and learning with us today.
Real estate isn't just about numbers. It's about creating intentional moves and finding opportunities that align with your goals.
Whether you're saving lives, leading a business, or growing your investments, the goal is to make your money work for you.
Stay engaged, keep learning. Let's keep pushing forward towards financial freedom.
We look forward to seeing you on our next call.
Until then, stay focused,
Stay connected and keep building wealth
one property at a time.